Hi everyone, it's Diane with Batik, and today is Fabric Friday. I can't believe it's June 30th. Half of our 2023 is almost over, and tomorrow is my twin sister's birthday. So we get to celebrate Darla's birthday tomorrow from afar. They were supposed to come for the 4th of July weekend, the long extended weekend, but we had to shift it 1 week. And so she'll be here the weekend after the 4th of July with her entire family. So we're gonna have a house full of fun, which will be so awesome. But I just can't believe when it gets to my birthday, I say to myself, okay, half the year's gone. What did I accomplish? What do I need to do next? And so this evening, I take a little moment to say, okay, where are we headed with the rest of our year? But here I am pontificating. Let's get back to Fabric Friday. I intended to talk to you today about several by Annie patterns, purses, actually a couple of purses, and a carrier for a walker or a carrier that you can have on your chair sitting at the beach, and also another tote bag. And I decided I was going to change my plans for one reason. I'm working with Kathy, who is helping me sew garments and kind of speed up that whole process with so much to do here at Batik. The one thing that I know that I hate giving up, but I really needed help finishing projects, and Kathy is such a joy. And so we share a lot of ideas and we share a lot of skills, and it's been fun to work with her on these garments. Well, I gave her a project last weekend and she finished it, and I couldn't not share this with you. So here we are talking about another dress, you know, my summer of dresses. This dress is right here, and it is, I'm just going to jump right into it, but it is a new look pattern. The new look pattern number is 6340, and I'm going to stand up and share with you this I'm going to describe this dress right here. It is sleeveless and a V-neck with interfacing in that neckline area. It has a front seam, it has a back seam, it has pocket options. I did incorporate the front pockets with the little pleats on it, which is so cute. And then also you have the option of a side seam pocket as well. The pattern also has options for a sleeve, different necklines, and different hemlines. So there's a lot of variations with this dress. The other thing that it does have, and I'm going to flip this over for just a moment. If you can see, it also has a tie in the back. The tie is really not, in my opinion, functional. I wouldn't use it as a functional tie unless this were maybe a little looser than what it is on me. But I did put it on the dress, and it's more decorative. I just have it tied, and I can still put this on and off over my head without having to untie and tie the tie. So it is just really, really a cute dress. I'm going to describe the fabric and a few things about the dress, and show you a little video I did earlier wearing the dress. I wanted it to be on a mannequin so that we could talk through some of the details a little bit easier than me standing up and bouncing around and hoping you can see what I'm sharing with you. So this dress is Batik Linen. It is the motif of Medora Flora in the shade of Copen Blue. It is probably my favorite linen colorway over there. And I also made a Verdun long sleeve top, which is a pattern by Liesl & Company from this exact same fabric. That's how much I love this fabric. It is, I used I should have used 2.5 yards, but I used the end of a bolt, and so we used about 77 inches after I washed it. So not even really 2.25 yards, and we used every single bit of this fabric to make the dress because it is quite full. Let's talk a little bit about the pattern itself. The size ranges for most new look patterns, if you're not familiar with them, it starts with a size number of 8 and it ranges to a 20. That doesn't mean anything. Let's talk about what does matter, which is the bust measurement. This is quite flowy, so the shape of it gives a lot of ease for your waist as well as your hips. So let's talk about the bust. The smallest size here is a 31.5, and then it ranges to a 42. And this pattern has about 5 to 6 inches of ease at the bust. So our goal with this pattern is to make sure we can fit the bust. Then everything else kind of cascades beautifully from there. And my concern when I saw that there's an ease of 5 inches at the bust wasn't so much that it was going to have a lot of fullness, because this probably has 5 inches or more of ease as well, the shirt I'm wearing. It's more, how do the arms fit? And do I have too much of an arm opening or not big enough? Is my neckline going to be high enough or low enough? Those are the two things I think about when there's a lot of ease around the bust area. And so Kathy and I talked this through. We did a little bit of measuring, and we decided to make a mock-up. And I went and found a half-yard sample, a production sample that we did before we produced our yardage, and we used that to make our mock-up and simply basted the pieces together to make sure that everything would fit properly before we cut it out of our real fabric. So we did make the sample out of a linen as well. What we ended up doing is, for me, I wanted to make a 12. I wanted to start with a 12 because, and that's a bust of 38, which is 1 inch smaller than my bust, because I knew the ease was 5 inches. And so I wanted it just to be a little bit tighter. Well, and I should say without as much ease. It's not tight at all. But Kathy thought better of that idea and started with a 14, which is a bust of 40, which is 1 inch more, okay, than my actual measurements. But what we decided to do is we made a tissue mock-up of only 18 inches of this pattern and using all of the sample fabric that we had. And we ended up adding 5/8 of an inch above the bust dart. So we lowered our bust dart and kept everything here exactly a size 14. So that is this is the back piece. No, this is the front piece. Here's our dart. And then we did the same adjustments to the back piece. And then I just tried on that bodice. And making mock-ups out of the exact fabric that you are going to sew this out of is really the preference. If you don't have the exact fabric at home, no worries, find something similar. So had I not had the extra piece of linen, then I would have used one of our cotton fabrics or just a basic muslin fabric in order to make the mock-up, because it's a woven. But linen, our linen is a lighter to mid-weight linen, and so I really just wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to move too much and that it was just going to fit nicely. So that's why I made the mock-up, and it was well worth it. So it just showed that the difference in 5/8 of an inch here lowered that bust dart to fit properly, which also then lowered the positioning of the waist and the hips to fit me so much better. I didn't realize that a simple 5/8 of an inch can really make that much of a difference. And so I'm going to keep these mock-ups and start using different mock-ups that fit this, you know, like this fits me nicely. So why wouldn't I use that to compare other patterns to that, to make sure of the adjustments that I might need to make when I'm working with a woven garment pattern or a garment pattern made for woven fabric that has a dart. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep this on the ready right there for me. So like I had mentioned, we should have started with 2.5 yards, and that is what we will have in our garment kit for this particular size, is 2.5 yards. Our linen, for those of you who are new to Sew Batik, our linen is 54 inches wide, and this pattern had a range of a 45-inch wide fabric or a 60-inch wide fabric. So we're right in between there. And so it really does need that 2.5 yards. Okay. The interfacing, I want to talk a little bit about that too. The interfacing that I normally recommend is the NV Silk, which is a super, super featherweight fusible interfacing. I decided to use a Pellon, I think it was a 101, SF101, a heavier. And if you're a bag maker, you know how heavy that particular interfacing is. I wanted it heavier because I wanted these neckline points to stay up and to not flop at all. So that interfacing gave the extra stability that I really was looking for, and it was perfect. So our garment kit will include that interfacing and not the NV Silk lightweight fusible for this particular project. Now, the pockets are absolutely the cutest things. They just give, it made out of linen as well. It really gives that little extra, I don't know if I can get a little bit closer here, and I'm gonna drop this a little bit here. It gave it just a little bit extra poof to it, which is really, really neat. Now, Kathy, knowing me very well, she knows that I like to have side pockets in absolutely everything I wear. And so she went back and actually added side pockets to this pattern. I guess we had that much fabric left, and I couldn't thank her enough for that simple little touch that really made my day, to be honest with you. So I have side pockets as well as the front pocket. So if that's something that you would like, I'll never put my phone in here because it will weigh down the dress. You can put a Kleenex in there or something like that. But side pockets will hide it so much easier if I have my phone on me. The sleeve opening here, or your arm opening, is a bias binding. We put we actually cut and sewed the bias binding out of the fabric, which actually isn't that hard to do. And then the back, hopefully you can see this. Yep, I think you can. The back here is the tie. And I guess if you're not somebody who likes a tie and likes the fullness of the dress, you don't need a tie. I just always make the garment the way the pattern intends the first time, and then I make adjustments after that. But I kind of think it's kind of cute. And I have another friend, her name is, I have friends. Anyway, her name is Vicky from New Hampshire. And when I saw this dress for the first time, I said to myself, Miss Vicky, this dress should be yours. It's just, this has her name written all over it as well. And I think a lot of you too would love a dress with this type of style. Now, the length of this dress, as you probably saw on me when I was twirling around, it lands right below my knee, and I like that length, and it is super full. Let me see if I can figure this out. Okay, the finished back length of the dress, and again, we had the 14, is 40.5 inches. So it is long. And that is the length that we made. Now, view B, there's other options. View B is shorter, so that's 4 inches less. So that's 36.5. And then, and that's at the center. So if you were going to make the one with the uneven hemline, the 40 or the 35.5 inches is from the center of that. It is not from the edges, okay? So take that into consideration. Your points at your side seams will be much longer, okay? And what was I going to, I was hoping to see the finished circumference of the hem, but it does not have that on here. Nope, it does not have that on here. And if you actually don't want to make the bias binding to go around your arms, you will need a package of 1/2 inch double fold bias tape that matches or coordinates, okay? Now, the one thing I want to address is, actually 2 things I want to address. One is pre-washing linen. I did pre-wash this fabric and it does shrink because of its loose weave. So pre-wash your fabric, and I believe that when I started with about, I think it was between 2.25 and 2.5. So I would say 2 1/3 yards, and it ended up being 77 inches. So it does shrink about 3 inches or so. It does not shrink in the width, only the cut length. The second is, this is a dress, and I've had this question asked by several customers, is how lightweight, as in if I stand in front of a window, do I need to wear a slip or do I need to line my dress? What do I really need to do to make sure that my silhouette underneath the dress is not visible? Okay, so what I did is I made a slip because I did not have one here. So I took a 1/2 hour and I found a coordinating rayon, because I don't have the Medora Flora Copen as a rayon. But what I did is I made a slip to match. Let's talk a little bit about the slip. I did put the slip on the mannequin. And so I'm just gonna lift up this dress so that you can kind of see what I did. I found our hand-dyed sapphire, which is pretty much the same background color as the Copen blue. So this is the slip. And let me talk about it a little bit and how I made it. You're going to be surprised at how simple it is to make a coordinating slip out of fabric you may have that matches something, instead of running to the store. And I don't think I have a slip that's this length. And so this is perfect for me. And now I always have something that's going to match this dress. Let's talk a little bit about the slip. And I'm going to share with you how easy it is to make this slip. I am going to have a PDF download that you can have at the ready if you want to do this at home. But I don't think you need to go to a store and buy a slip just to have something that's going to fit you. But here's what I did. I grabbed the sapphire fabric and decided I better measure myself just to make sure I'm doing this right. So I measured my hip area, which was 45 inches. I added 5 inches to that because I thought that's a nice amount of ease. So if I'm sitting down or standing up, I'm not going to have any kind of pulling on the slip. Then I measured from my waist, where I liked my slip to land and sit, and I measured it down to my kneecaps, because this dress falls slightly below my knee and I didn't want it any longer than that. So that measurement for me was 25 inches. Now here's the premise of my slip. One of my selvage edges is going to be the hem. So I'm not going to hem this slip. I'm simply using the selvage edge, which is finished, as the hem. So I measured from one selvage edge down 25 inches. I took a little snip with my scissor and I tore my rayon apart. So now I have a 25 by 50 inch piece of rayon. I jumped over to my serger with right sides together. I sewed a side seam. So now I have a tube. Went over to the sewing machine or the iron and pressed that seam flat. And then I went back over to the serger. Now you can do the same thing with your sewing machine. Doesn't have to be a serger. And I serged the top edge of the torn top edge of my circle, now my slip, to finish that edge off. Then I went back over to the iron and I pressed that down 3/8 of an inch to the wrong side. That's my casing for the elastic. Now, when it comes to elastic for a slip, I'm not a professional slip maker, but all I know is that for myself, I don't like it to be tight. I like it to just sit on my waist so it's not encumbering anything. So I just took my piece of elastic, which is 1/4 of an inch wide, and I wrapped it around my waist, and I didn't make it too tight. I just wanted it to kind of sit. So that was about 35 inches, and I cut that off our roll of elastic. Sewed my ends together so I have a tube. Now I have my fabric and I have my elastic. Went over to the sewing machine and I positioned the elastic inside my casing already and pinned it in a couple of spots. And all I'm doing is sealing the top edge on using my sewing machine to make sure that everything is in place. And then I went back and I smoothed out the gathers where the elastic is. And it might be a good idea to actually top stitch the elastic in place. I did not do that yet, but I wanted to make sure that everything fit properly. And I have a slip. That was it. And so now I don't have to worry about whether or not the light's going to show through. I just have a matching, to be honest with you, very professional looking slip that matches this garment perfectly. And so for 1.5 yards of fabric of our Batik rayon and 1 yard of 1/4 inch elastic, you have a slip. So look for that PDF download and use it and make one and let me know if it works, and make some coordinating slips for yourself to make yourself feel good, that you don't have like a black slip or a white slip or whatever underneath a garment that you really feel amazing about. So hopefully you will try that and let me know how that goes. But super simple. Now the other thing is I ended up with a piece of fabric because there's always leftover. So I have a piece of fabric now that measures 50 inches by, I would say 21 inches. How about 18 inches? Anyway, but wouldn't this be great just to have, I'm going to finish this off actually with a rolled hem. And wouldn't it be great just to have a coordinating scarf or shawl or something that you can put over your shoulders if the night gets a little cool. And this matches this fabric beautifully. So it would be a great idea to just use up the rest of that 1.5 yards of rayon. There we go, cute little outfit. But we're not done yet. I have one more project to share. The next project I want to share with you is a Diane bag. And you're not going to believe this, but way back when we were planning to work with Annie Unruh of Diane, we were sharing with her our canvas, and we sent her a whole bunch of different canvas and cotton combinations to work together to make some projects. And one of those projects is this pattern, and it's called Snapshot. Look at that cute bag. And so I thought about this, and I said to myself, oh my goodness, we have a canvas bag. Look how cute. That's made with our canvas that happens to be Medora Flora motif in the shade of Copen Blue. And now this may be getting just a little too matchy for some of you, and I can understand that, but what are the odds? So anyway, two things I want to show you. One is that each one of our fabric substrates takes the dyes and the color differently. So where the linen here looks so deep and dark, the canvas itself is a little bit of a lighter shade. You can kind of see the difference in the shade. But how awesome is it to have something that looks so beautiful with our dress? And this is the Snapshot bag, is actually made for a clutch bag, or because these can be detached, or a shoulder strap, and it's 2 sizes. Here is the large bag. The large bag can be 8.5 inches closed or 12 inches high when it's open. Okay, if you have projects to put inside. It has pockets inside that have an elastic fold-over edge to them. There's also a pocket on the back for a phone or anything that you need access to really quickly, car keys, your shopping list, whatever it happens to be. And then again, there are detachable, a shoulder strap that you can put on it as well. The small version of this bag is 6.5 high to 10 inches high if you have it open with more like a notebook or a computer or anything like that in it. And it also is 11 inches wide, and the depth is about 2.5 inches. Okay, and again, same structure where the inside has pockets inside. And the fabric we used inside is our cotton, and this is the Valhalla motif in the colorway of early autumn. And then the back also has a pocket again. So isn't this just the cutest little bag that you can coordinate your entire outfit with? How cute is that? This bag is not a pre-quilted bag. It has the canvas for the outside, batik cotton for the lining. There is a coordinate as well, which is the canvas here. And the inside is soft and stable, so it has structure to it. If you're new to any of the Diane projects, she has this foam that is spectacular and gives everything the right amount of weight and stability for your bags, totes, whatever you happen to be making. And she also selected the antique brass hardware, and navy is the color of the zippers that she selected when she put together this sample. And absolutely gorgeous. So this is one project, I have to tell you, that would be wonderful to make either large or small as a gift. If you don't want to quilt up the soft and stable or don't want to take the time to do any pre-quilting, these are perfect because they don't require it. So we'll have these kits on our website soon. I don't know if it will be this weekend or not, but I just really wanted to share how beautiful this purse project is and how versatile these purses can be for anything that you may be shopping for or carrying, or for whatever you want to use these bags for. They're just such a neat fold over bag. And again, it's called Snapshot, and the pattern is by Annie. So much fun. Oh, the other thing I'm reading on the back here, the other thing that you do need is a sew-in snap, as well as the strapping, which is the 1-inch strapping to match the size of the hardware. But I am really looking forward to sharing so many more of the Diane bag projects that are new to us and will be very new to you. In the next, I have to say, in the next educational video that I will be doing is going to be, well, one, I'm going to do a quick little video on this slip because I think it's just so simple, so fun, so elegant to have a slip that matches your garment. I think that's just going to be so much fun. And the second video that I'm going to be doing is a Diane, and it will be, this is the sidekick, and this is what connects onto a walker. So if you have somebody who uses a walker to get around and wants to have something that will hold everything on your walker, this will be just amazing. And so we'll talk through how to sew this up. Inside there is mesh where you can hold bottles, you can put notebooks in, you can put your crossword or your word search books. You can do put anything inside here. It has a handle so you can carry it. And on the back is a zipper where you can put more things inside there, as well as 2 more mesh bags on the back. And this goes around, it's so neat. It actually goes around the handle of your walker and Velcros together to give it that security that you're going to need so nothing flops around when you have your walker. And then there is a strap, and I have to actually borrow my mom's walker and show this to you as it is on a walker. And there's a strap that goes around the front so that everything also holds in place. But isn't this the cutest little sidekick? And again, it's perfect for a beach chair. Make it to go along on the beach, and you can put your book in here, you can put your water in here, you can put your adult beverage in here, you can do whatever you would like to do, and these are just great projects. I had some pre-quilted fabric that was available and left over from another project, and I measured it out, and I have enough to make this project. And so I am going to make my version out of, I actually made my undercover sewing machine cover from this fabric. And this is the Phoenix Dusty Denim. And it's already quilted, and the inside is our Vine Cream Pearl colorway. So it's really soft and subtle, and I think Mom is going to, don't tell her, but I'm giving that to her. I think she will love having a So Batik sidekick on her walker. So those are some projects that are coming up. The last thing I want to talk to you about today is an update on our inventory and our shipment. We want to apologize because this is taking so much longer than we anticipated. Several of you have been waiting a long time for the canvas and the linen, and it's not, the truck is now en route to us from the port in California. The estimated date is now the 11th to the 15th. And I think it's because of this holiday, and I think it's because of the strike that was going on at the port. I don't know exactly everything, but it has been sitting in California for a couple of weeks. Which is much longer than we ever have experienced. And so we apologize for that, and thank you so much for your patience. So if you have issues with the timeline, please reach out to us and we'll work with you on anything that you need. So I just needed to provide an update on our shipment. Okay, this is our Fabric Friday, and I really had so much fun with this garment, with the ideas, with the purses, and what we're going to be focusing on here in the next couple of weeks. And it's a long holiday, so I don't know if you all get Monday off as well as the 4th of July off, or what your plans are for this extended holiday. But please be safe, enjoy your family, put sunscreen on, and enjoy the fireworks, and just have a blast this Independence Day. And keep sewing, smiling, and sharing.